Hey everybody, John Skiba here from the Consumer Warrior YouTube channel, and this is part 6 of my 7-part series where we're doing a deep dive on the Chapter 7 bankruptcy process, what you can expect from it, the whole reason that you're doing it, and this video in particular, we're going to talk about that holy grail from the bankruptcy process, the bankruptcy discharge. But if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and click subscribe, check on that little bell, that way you'll be notified each and every day when we put out new videos that'll help you deal with serious debt issues. All right, so in this 6th installment, this 6th part of my 7-part series on Chapter 7 bankruptcy, we're going to talk about the whole reason that you're even filing bankruptcy, and that is to get your Chapter 7 discharge order. Now, the discharge order is that final order from the court signed by your judge that says you're not legally obligated on certain debts anymore. And so this is the whole reason you're doing it, is to get the discharge order. So in this video, we're going to talk about not only the significance of it, which we kind of just did right there. We're going to talk about the time frame as far as when you receive the discharge order. And then we're going to talk about one thing that I get questioned about all the time in my bankruptcy practice here in the state of Arizona, and that is life after discharge. Is there a life after you receive that discharge order as far as obtaining credit, building credit, those types of things? Okay, so let's talk about the first one. Like I said, the discharge order is received at the end of your bankruptcy case, whether you're Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. And that discharge is the legal document that says you have met all of the requirements that the bankruptcy code puts on you. You filed your documents, you've done the initial credit counseling class, you attended the meeting of creditors, and you know about all these things if you watched my prior videos. And you've done everything that the court has required of you. You provided documents, you cooperated with the trustee. If there's assets to be liquidated, those have been sold, and you're now entitled to your discharge order. So you've checked all the boxes, done everything that's been asked of you. You will then receive your bankruptcy discharge. That not only eliminates debts so that you don't have to pay those debts, it also acts as an injunction to your creditors. So if you have a credit card bill with a debt with American Express, that debt is discharged in your bankruptcy. Not only do you not owe it, you don't have to make the payments each month, but the creditor, American Express, can no longer reach out to you and try to collect the debt. They can't send you letters, they can't call you on the phone. Even when it comes to credit reporting, they've got to zero it out, show that there's no money owed. There may be a notation there that states that it was discharged in bankruptcy, but they can't do anything to try to collect that debt. And in fact, if a creditor tries to collect a debt that was discharged in your bankruptcy after you receive that discharge order, you actually may have a claim against them because they are violating that court's order. They're in contempt of the judge's discharge order to leave you alone and stop collecting on the debt. So this is why you file. Again, Chapter 7 bankruptcy is to get the discharge order, and then not only once you get it, you can use it as a shield from any additional contact from those particular creditors. So let's talk about second here, the time frame as far as when you can expect to receive the discharge order in a Chapter 7. Now, most Chapter 7 bankruptcy cases take between 4 and 5 months to discharge from the date that they're filed. So you file the initial paperwork with the court. About 4 to 6 weeks later, you're going to have your meeting of creditors with your bankruptcy trustee. And then from the date of your meeting from the trustee, it's usually about 90 days, can be a little bit more later for your discharge order to be entered. Now, one thing you have to do to be able to get your discharge order, there's a financial management class that you have to take. Now, you probably are aware, we've talked about before, the credit counseling class that has to be completed before your case is filed with the court. However, there's a second class you have to take after the bankruptcy case is filed and before your discharge order can be entered, which is the financial management course. Again, it's done online, takes about an hour to an hour and a half, and it's just something, it's a video, it's an informational thing you have to watch. But it's super important. I've had clients in my practice here in Arizona where they forget to take it, they don't take it, they go MIA, whatever happens. But if you don't take that financial management class, the court will close your case without a discharge order. So that means you get all the negative side of bankruptcy and none of the benefit, because without the discharge order, the debts are not eliminated. So Once you jump through all those hoops again, about 4 to 5 months from the time that your case is filed with the court, that's when your discharge order will be entered by your judge. It's a little anticlimactic, truthfully, when it comes. You go through all this, the buildup of having, making the decision to file the bankruptcy, doing all the paperwork, attending the medium creditors, taking the classes, doing everything you need to do, and then the clerk just mails out a 1-page piece of paper to you that says discharge across the top. Your judge signs it, and that's it. That's the discharge order, and that's the end of the process. So let's jump into probably the reason you're really here is I go, okay, you've done the whole process. Am I ever going to recover? What is their life after the discharge order is entered? And there is. Let's talk about rebuilding credit and the long-term impacts of the bankruptcy filing. So when it comes to Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the discharge, the bankruptcy itself, I should say this, will stay on your credit for 10 years. There's a public records section in your credit report. It's usually at the end of the credit report, and that's where public records will show up, like the bankruptcy filing. So that'll stay there for 10 years. It'll stay on your credit report. After the 10 years, that'll be gone. It'll go away. How it will impact the other items on your credit report, once the discharge order is entered, the creditor will likely stay there as far as the creditor, the amount loaned, all that, but the balance owed will be reduced to 0. So it's important about 60 days after you get your discharge order to go and check your credit report to make sure that your creditors have updated the information to show that there's 0 amount owed. Now, there may be a notation in there that states that the debt was discharged in a bankruptcy. That's a good thing. What you don't want to happen is that you file for bankruptcy, get your discharge order from the court, and then they're still showing that there's a balance owed on your credit report. You need to dispute that and make sure that it's updated. I usually tell clients here in Arizona, where I practice law, that my recommendation is to wait 2 reporting cycles, roughly 60 days, after the discharge order is entered. And then if they haven't updated it at that point, then to file your dispute to get the issue resolved. Now, when it comes to lending, most people are surprised that lending happens more quickly than you think. The bankruptcy is on your credit report for 10 years. However, most people recover from the credit, as far as their credit score, within about 18 to 24 months. Mortgage loans with normal interest rates can be had 2 years after a Chapter 7 bankruptcy when you're getting lending through like FHA or through like a VA loan. Those are 2 years after a Chapter 7 that you're going to become eligible for those. Other lenders are 3 years. So within that 2 to 3 year mark, you can find yourself being eligible to get a home loan with a normal interest rate. Now, credit cards and car loans are available almost immediately. Those you'll start to see even when you file your bankruptcy, even before the discharge order is entered. You're going to see that they're going to start sending you advertisements for car loans, credit cards. You're just going to get better interest rates the further you get away from those filing dates. So those are some things to consider. There is life after bankruptcy. You do recover once that discharge order is entered. Like I said, that you got to make sure it's reporting correctly on your credit report, but you will recover from it much more quickly than most people anticipate and be able to move on with your life. So if you are in the state of Arizona, you need help with the bankruptcy, my information is below. Even if you're not, there's a telephone number down there that can connect you with an attorney who does the kind of stuff that I do in your state. Appreciate you watching on this video. Make sure you go to our next video. We're going to do our 7th and final installment of this ultimate Chapter 7 bankruptcy guide, where we're going to discuss a lot of the frequently asked questions as well as some special considerations when it comes to Chapter 7 bankruptcy. We'll catch you then.